It's been said that Litecoin is Bitcoin's baby brother, and it's not unusual for the price of Litecoin to track with the price of Bitcoin. Today's show is all about the little coin that could, or might, as we welcome John Kim, Chief Litecoin Evangelist, and David Schwartz, Project Director for the Litecoin Foundation, to the Bad Crypto mic. We'll talk about adding privacy functionality to Litecoin, what the foundation's up to, and what the future of Litecoin might look like. If you're hodling any Litecoin, you've got more than the founder, Charlie Lee. He may have sold his entire stash at a very opportune time. So what happens when Bitcoin goes on a diet? It becomes Litecoin. So join us for a very light episode number 356 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
And welcome to the Bad Crypto Podcast. Coins aren't the only things that are getting lighter around here, right, Mr. Travis Wright?
That is true. Actually, the days are getting lighter as each day is getting longer, and so there's more sunlight in the day.
That is also that's true. But you're also getting lighter.
Well, that's just because of the flu.
Well, and because you're on a mission to get lighter.
Yeah, well, just, it was the flu. 3 days of the flu. I think every ounce of water that was in me was gone.
That's great. And now you're rehydrated.
I'm rehydrating now. It's good.
Excellent. And when you guys are hearing this episode, we are in Miami, Florida. We've got 2 conferences that we're attending this week, the Washington Elite Conference and the North American Bitcoin Conference. Will be performing at both events, doing Bad Crypto Live, having some superb guests, talking awesome blockchain-y goodness. If you're in the Miami area, then come on down to those events and say, hello, Bad Crypto guys. And right now, we're going to tell you about our sponsor, eToro. If you haven't signed up by now, what are you waiting for? Go to the App Store of your choice and download the eToro trading app. It's a smart trading platform, and there's over now 12 million other eToro traders around the world. There's charts, there's trading, there's discussion, there's cryptos, and there's $25 in free Bitcoin. You guys are still claiming them by following the directions on this page. Go do it now, badco.in/eToro, and find out how to build your crypto portfolio the smart way.
Not as smart.
Be wicked smart.
Wicked. You were talking about this, the lead in with Litecoin and how Litecoin would normally track the price of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Well, back in the day, it was almost like it was 1/16 the price of Bitcoin or so. It was like you could just see it was tracking for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it's like it's decoupled completely. It was almost like it used to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold, but it seems like it's kind of lost a little bit of its shine a little bit.
Is it more like bronze now?
Maybe like bronze, copper.
Copper.
Well, dude, whenever Bitcoin went up to $20,000 something dollars and Litecoin up to $300, that was crazy. What's the price of it right now?
That's around $50.
$50.
Yeah. And we'll get to that interview in just a moment, Mr. Travis Wright. But first, want to give a shout out to our other show sponsor, Upland. Hopefully you guys heard the last episode where we talked to 2 of the co-founders of Upland.me. And we are all about buying those properties in San Francisco. It's a location-based property trading game paired with a decentralized economy. Players buy, sell, trade, and develop virtual properties based on real world addresses.
Ooh.
And I'm going to addresser you right now. And the UPX token is the in-game currency and the reward for ownership and for completing missions in the game. Travis, I created a video to give people an overview of Upland. And if they go to the website for these show notes, badco.in/356, they can see that video. I'm pretty impressed with these guys, and we're glad to have them as sponsors for the show.
It is such a cute, app. And it's cool. It's like Monopoly, blockchain Monopoly, but like in a whole revisited way. It's like a new reimagined Monopoly.
It's not chronic. It's acute.
Well, you know what? The only thing is that you can earn these properties, but we can't like build hotels on them or whatever else, right? It's like
Well, because there's stuff there already. What's kind of fun is you look up an address and then you go to Google Earth and you know the street view and you look at the actual property. I'm like, oh, hey, sucker, you might own that house, but I own the digital version of it.
Yeah, and I own the digital version of the poop out front on the sidewalk. I just love that because it's San Francisco that they did the game on. I mean, it would be funny if like your little Block Explorer was going and they had like little random little
Stepped
poop.
in a bunch of poop. Who knows? Maybe
virtual poop for more upics.
Maybe a future update. You never know. All right, let's get on with this interview. John Kim and David Schwartz from Litecoin. One of our favorite guests to welcome back to Bad Crypto is Mr. Charlie Lee of Litecoin fame. Satoshi Lite, as he's known. Well, guess what? He's not available today. So we had to go with the next best thing. Actually, we're really excited because we've got two gentlemen with us from Litecoin Foundation today. Mr. John Kim, who is the chief Litecoin evangelist, and Mr. David Schwartz, who is the project director for the Litecoin Foundation. Gentlemen, welcome to the Republic of Bad Cryptopia.
Yo, Bad Crypto. I cannot believe that I'm on this show. I remember 2 years ago when I saw you guys at the Litecoin Summit, I said to myself, one day I'm going to be on that podcast. And I didn't know that one day was going to be today. So I'm honored to be here, brothers.
Well, thank you. You didn't know that one day was going to be so far away. Oh my God, 2 years it's going to take me to get on the show.
It's a long way. David, are you as excited as John?
Oh, absolutely. I remember when you guys came and did the Litecoin Summit last year and you were up on stage there. I thought that was really cool. I was thinking, yeah, it'd be nice to be on their show sometime. So here we are.
We remember that too, but that was such a good time that you didn't ask us back again. So thanks for that.
Maybe because we didn't get them on our show. They're like, well, screw those guys. They're not coming back on our show.
And cut. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk some Litecoin and Litecoin Foundation here. Of course, Litecoin, the baby brother of Bitcoin, currently number 6 in the crypto market cap. Time stamping it for December 5th when we're recording this. Litecoin is at $44.71 with a market cap of $2.8 billion. And hopefully more and more people adopting Litecoin. John, you are when we talk about somebody being an evangelist for a project, you have all of the elements that make for a great evangelist because you are a true believer and you've got incredible charisma. When did you get involved with Litecoin?
I got involved with Litecoin early 2017. I didn't think much of it because I was into Bitcoin and Ethereum at the time, but I was using Litecoin to send between exchanges because Bitcoin and Ethereum was just too slow. So that was my first experience with Litecoin. I was using it to go to other exchanges so I can trade a little bit faster.
That's interesting. So then how did that turn into, so Litecoin's been around since what, 2012 maybe? When did Litecoin get started?
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
And so you're the foundation member, and you got in kind of late then on Litecoin if you got in 2017, right?
I did get in late. I heard about Bitcoin, but I like most people, I thought it was just like internet money, fake money. And then me and my wife sat there one day. I came home and she said, "Have you heard of Ethereum?" And I said, "Have you heard of Bitcoin?" So we agreed that we would start investing. So that's how I started in early 2017.
And we're like, "Have you heard of Badcoin?" And you're like, "What's that?"
I like the name of that actually. Badcoin. It's like, how can you forget that name, right?
Yeah, it's not good. It's bad. Well, what we did is we kind of turned the model on its side and said, "Hey, we want to have a crypto out there that anybody can mine. So the slower your computer, the better chance you have of getting a reward of Badcoin."
You serious?
Serious, yeah. Badcoin.net, man. You can check it out. You can
awesome.
mine it on your crappy old laptop, and you get reward.
Wow, what a unconventional idea.
Well, there's such an arms race when it comes to mining, right? I mean, you have, as we mentioned, the Jihan Woos of the world. There's only one, but Bitmain's a $12 billion business. They're selling all these expensive ASIC mining computers, and you have to have a huge warehouse full of these things to be able to make it profitable to mine. And, I remember I mined my first Bitcoin in 2010 on my crappy laptop, and it killed my laptop. And that was great. But I realized that what I should have done is, instead of throwing away my laptop with all my Bitcoin on it, I should have went to the store and bought more laptops and got more cryptos and built my own arms race, but I did not. But so it was really interesting watching over time, the mining power and how much hash power some of these cryptos have. And we just wanted to kind of flip that on its head. Let us ask you guys. So Litecoin, as Joel mentions, the silver to Bitcoin's gold, right? And the lots of mining and stuff going there. What's the mining like currently? Like, how's the hash rates compared historically now, based on other times of the history of Litecoin?
Well, I think the hash rate right now is at 150 terahashes. So we're looking at same as last December when Litecoin bottomed at $22. So, but it's right at double, right? So right now it's at $44, so it's double the price, but the hash rate is the same. But like all things, like if you look at the charts, we're still on the upper trend. So this is it happens every time when we go through the halving and the hash rate drops, and then ultimately it picks back up. So so many people creating FUD, but just like Bitcoin, we went through 100 FUD and funerals already, and we are alive and kicking. And what they don't realize is that we are the only blockchain in the world, I believe, that 8 years, zero downtime, 100% uptime, with over $500 billion transacted on the network, running flawlessly. So for me, no amount of FUD can deter me in my determination for adoption of Litecoin, because you can't develop history. You can't buy history. So 8 years of zero downtime to me is a unbelievable feat that most people can't even touch. So
John Kim has unbelievable feet, gang. You heard it right here, and nobody can touch him. Not even him.
You can't touch this.
So, David, how long have you been with Litecoin Foundation, and what are you most excited about with the current state of Litecoin?
I've been with the foundation since January, February of 18. So coming up on 2 years. The first 10 months or so was just strictly voluntary. And now as the project director, I just help, bring across different deals and partnerships and sort of help keep, just keep things moving along. So development wise, obviously, confidential transactions are what everybody's pretty much talking about with Litecoin. And I would say that's the majority of what is actually going on development wise anyway. I know that Charlie and the foundation and a few other people have sort of set up a wallet for donations for Mimblewimble. We have David Burkett, who's part of Grin. He's actually the one that's doing the implementation of Mimblewimble and confidential transactions for Litecoin. And so that's, like I said, that's pretty much the big thing right now as far as development goes. On the partnership.
Wait, let's stop there just for a second, because you mentioned Mimblewimble, and there was a news story just a couple weeks ago that there was a bug, in that somebody, I can't remember the exact incident, but somebody said, here's why Mimblewimble is broken and can't be used. So what's the truth?
So the truth is Mimblewimble, it's always had that known, at least by people who know what Mimblewimble is, and part of the Grin network, is that it's really not all about the security portion of it. It's really about the masking of the amounts. So when people say it's broken, that's just that's more ignorance than it is any real proclamation that someone who might have already known about it didn't already know.
Also, the main developer, David Burkett, wrote a Medium article talking about that. So maybe you guys should stop asking us simple people and go and read that article. How about that? How about them?
We're simple people.
And obviously that community, within Grin itself, the majority of them that at least are active in it, they already knew about it as well. So it wasn't something that was new. It was just something that was put out in a way that probably, scared people who weren't familiar with it. Just like people aren't familiar with perhaps, onion layers and Schnorr and all the other things that go along with privacy as well. So once we start tapping into those more, you're going to hear probably more FUD and more questions. And the great thing is, even if you go on like the Bitcoin Reddit, there are threads on there that are talking about it that are very informational. I know that Peter, I want to make sure I say his name right, Wheelie, I believe he's one of the developers for Bitcoin. He'd been speaking on some of these things as well. And so I think it's sparking some great conversation outside of just the Litecoin community, the community, Bitcoin. Anybody else who's interested in this is also looking at it.
And Peter is also, he's a Bitcoin core developer, and he has the second most commits in the GitHub. So he's a pretty big guy in the Bitcoin core team. And he thinks that Mimblewimble is a pretty cool project that Bitcoin could implement in the future, possibly.
It's really interesting to me because, I've noticed there's been a lot of news pop up around Litecoin lately. We just did our bad news yesterday, and we're going through and reading the news, and we didn't cover this. But one thing that was really interesting to me, because if I see these types of FUD things, I always look at them really. So somebody had claimed that Litecoin is headed to zero based on stock to flow model. White Rabbit or whatever did a thing, and he said that Litecoin's eventually going to drop to zero. They showed the last 6 months of hash rate data and said that Litecoin shows no price movements in connection to its scarcity. Traditionally the stock to flow model that doesn't apply to crypto, really. And so, maybe what would you say to somebody who says, hey, Litecoin, it was great. Now it's going to die a slow, predictable death. Like, what do you say to these people who are throwing out that FUD besides FO?
So, some of those we obviously know. If you're on Twitter and you're active on it, some of those Bitcoiners like White Rabbit, and there's a few others. I don't really want to give them necessarily the publicity at this point, but it almost feels like it's their job to make sure they throw stuff out there that's negative. And the majority of the time is not factual or based on anything factual. It's really about playing to once again, the ignorance of a space that's so new. How many of us can honestly say we really know what's going on if we're not actual developers that are probably part of at least Bitcoin Core and have been around for a while? It's very easy to mislead people in this space. And I think when you start talking about the hash rate, when you start talking about stock to flow, when you start talking about anything that's technical in nature, you lose a lot of people, and they're either going to just trust that you're saying what's true, or they're just going to ignore it because they don't want to feel stupid. But they really have an easy time regurgitating that stuff, don't they? You see a lot of people regurgitating and just re-speaking the things a lot of people say on social media, even if they don't really know exactly what they're talking about. So to me, it's like, what is your ulterior motive for bringing any of that out to begin with? If you're not a part of that project is not something that's misleading, and it's not something that's that was pre-mined, that's really just about a money grab or anything else, then I don't understand why they continue to try and find things that are not even factual to try and harp about. It just blows my mind.
Well, you know what's pretty cool is that I used to fight in the cage back in the day, right? And when I go out into the streets, I don't talk about people that don't matter, right? I always talk about people that I feel like it's a threat to me, right? I kind of bow up and talk crap to them. So I think it's pretty significant that the Bitcoin people, maximalists or the maxi pads, they attack Litecoin.
Did you just call them maxi pads?
Well, I love Bitcoin maximalists who have the right spirit, right? But there's a lot of them that's just very hateful, and they just think they're God's gift to earth, right? So for them, I call them Bitcoin maxi pads, because when I see them in real life, they don't say anything, right? They talk all that crap on Twitter, and I'm not going to say no names. When I see them in real life, they say, I'm sorry, man, can we be friends or whatever? I was like, oh, I thought you were so tough on Twitter. You were telling me you're going to whoop my, butt and everything. So that being said, I think them spending time to talk about Litecoin, to create FUD about Litecoin is the fact that Litecoin is pretty important in this space. And Bitcoin people cannot say one thing that Litecoin can. They cannot say that they have 11 years of zero downtime, because they had to start 2 blocks back at one point. So I think part of it is they never talk about the great part of Litecoin, where it's been running flawlessly for 8 years. That and they pick at the things that because look, you can't just pull up a 6-month graph on a hash rate. You know what I mean? Like if you pull up the hash rate of Litecoin for all time, it's on an upward trend. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's just so.
That's what he did. He showed that it got up to like 500, almost 550 terahash, and now it's at 150. Now, you think that's just a direct result of the halving, because people were like ramping up, and then like they knew the halving was getting ready to happen, and then the halving happened, and then so just is that typically what's happened before during other halvings? Is that the hash rate drops after the halving and then just sort of builds back up again?
Yes,
it's very normal.
On the last halving, it happened exactly, and even Charlie came on the interview and said, "Oh, it's going to drop." You know what I mean? Because when the Litecoin the reward halves, I mean, people are going to shut down their computers, right? But the thing is, it only goes down just to go back up way higher. You know what I mean? So, and we're 98% dominant in script algorithm. So, I mean, who can say they have a dominant position in any algorithm except for Bitcoin and Litecoin? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, think about this, though, which is crazy, is that in July of 2017, all of Litecoin's hash rate was 7.69 terahash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And then this past July, it was 500 terahash. So it's like that's a big ride. So coming back at 150 terahash, that's right when the bull run started taking off was in July 2017. So definitely looking at the whole picture makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think the easiest way to put this would be, if you're talking about hash rate, you're talking about the dependability, you're talking about the fact that if there's not a lot to fix, what are we really trying to have 500 developers on? We have a backlog of people that are trying to have partnerships with us. You cannot tell me that this is a dead project.
Mm-hmm.
You have people that are trying to use it in ways. I have a guy who's talking to me right now. I can't get too much into it, but he's talking to me. He's excited about the fact that Litecoin is going to be utilized as an investment vehicle in his public company.
Mm.
Oh, that is nice.
And David, we can't talk about this, but I mean, we've had meetings to where, I mean, these big companies, we don't go after them. They come after us. And I thought that was like a very eye-opening thing for me, because behind the scenes, when we meet these people, usually what they tell us is that the other cryptocurrencies reach out to them and they're trying to get some kind of a deal, right? But I mean, we're at a point where people are coming after us, and they're like, wanting a meeting with us and wanting to get a partnership or do something with Litecoin. So it's just ridiculous. The things that we are going through and things that are are being planned right now, it's so bullish, but yet people that doesn't know anything are the ones that are creating the FUD. So it's just like, I just smirk at them, because they're just trying to get attention.
And you guys are both into sports. Obviously, Travis, you big Royals fan, and but who would be, like, if you were to find an epitome of the player who was one of the best players around, but was also one of those players where it was like, when you scored the touchdown, you just hand the football to the ref because you expected to be in the.
All right, I think Emmitt Smith always did that. When he ever got in there, he just hand the football to the ref.
Emmitt used to do that. Walter Payton used to do that. There's a few other players that do that. That's how I look at Litecoin, right? We continue to perform, and we just hand the ball to the ref and go, that's what was supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. But it's not something where we have to go out and literally tell people ahead of time that we're going to be scoring this touchdown. We're going to be scoring this touchdown. We score the touchdown and we go, that's what was supposed to happen. and we hand the ball to the ref. And that can be really boring for a lot of people because they want that splash effect. They want all those special things that go on. All I can tell you is there are a lot of end zones in front of us that we're heading towards where we're going to be handing the football off to the ref.
That's right, baby.
Okay, the best way to frame it would be when I came on as a project director, Charlie asked me to project direct for the Slack that we are on and a few other things. He did not ask me to be a business development guy, but literally that is 95% of what I do now is just field calls and emails and questions about how can people connect with Litecoin and have Litecoin associated with what they do. And so that's literally what I've turned into, is more of a business development guy than any type of a project or, some kind of a Slack manager or anything else.
Yo, David, why don't you call Ron Paul for me real quick and ask him what he's doing next weekend? Man, I cannot believe that we had a private dinner with Ron Paul, me, David, and Charlie Lee. And I mean, going back 2 years, we were like nobodies, right? And then David, he somehow gets in contact with all these people, and then next thing I know, we're eating dinner with Ron Paul, our hero, and it was just so surreal, And so, what David has brought to the Litecoin Foundation was like over and beyond what we thought that he could do. Well, I believed in him, but not many people did. So, but I just want to say that out there.
At least in that capacity, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the meetings that I've been with him, are just like, I cannot believe I'm sitting here right now, So if people just knew just a little bit of what's really going on behind the scenes, they would FOMO in like a mofo.
No, it's really exciting because, I mean, even if you go through and look at some of these hash rates from some of these other companies and other projects like Ethereum right now, their total hash rate is like 170, what do I got? The terahash right there. So it's like, I mean, and look at all the projects that are built on Ethereum. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's like, it just compare some things and take a look at that. It's pretty exciting. So let's ask about the foundation, because I know some folks. There's a lot of people out there who have our bad coin, and we're in the process of there's some folks that are setting up an association for us that's sort of outside of that, outside of us, and they're setting it up. And so what are some of the benefits that you might say of having a foundation for a project, and what are some of the things that the folks might want to look out for the foundation?
Yeah, so I think some of the benefits. So the foundation, the Litecoin Foundation, is a nonprofit organization, which bodes well when you're talking about people looking to make a dime off something. So the organization is not set up for that. The organization literally is only set up to help with the awareness and the adoption of and the education of Litecoin, the decentralized cryptocurrency. So it's separate from the currency, right? Nobody. It's a decentralized currency, but the foundation is centralized in its efforts to promote it. So we don't make anything off of anything that happens with Litecoin, the cryptocurrency. If the price goes up, great. If the foundation's holding on to some of it because of donations or whatever, now has a little more donation power to it or whatever, that's great. But it's not like there's a profit involved in it. And so when we go and talk to people, it helps put them at ease that we're not trying to basically make a dime off them. Okay. The part that it is probably a negative is the fact that we're not making anything off of anything that happens. So we literally rely on donations and selling some things on the website, or perhaps maybe if there's a partnership where if something were to go down, then at least we maybe make a small percentage off of it. But other than that, really, it's self-funded. So most people know that Charlie's a big feeder of the foundation, and there's a few others that donate to it that help out too. It ends up being this weird marriage of helping a decentralized currency through a centralized nonprofit organization. That in this space, unfortunately, you need to pay to play for a lot of things, and we cannot do that. It's not a sustainable model for us.
I'm looking at the Litecoin shop right now, and you've got this little roller coaster guy, crypto ticker, and I want to buy one, but they're not for sale. Like, how do I get one?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know it wasn't for sale. I thought that's why they had it on there.
It's in the shop, but there's no way to like put
That's
it in a
interesting.
cart or anything. So I'd like to do that. I want to talk for a moment about something you mentioned earlier about privacy functionality coming to Litecoin. Does this mean that there's going to be like an optional Monero like function? What is this all about?
So let me tell you like a simple version of it, right? So it's Mimblewimble with extension blocks, right? So I'm on the streets. I talk to regular people and businesses. So I have to make everything like complex, simple, right? Stupid, simple, so they can get it. So basically, Mimblewimble with extension block with opt-in is like a side chain, right? So Litecoin on-chain transaction is like a car running on an open public highway, right? But Mimblewimble is like a car that can exit into a road that runs parallel with the public highway, but it's a tunnel, so it's covered, right? So you can either go on the public highway or you can go into the tunnel where it's covered and you can't see anything. So basically, Litecoin now, the public blockchain is like a credit card, right? It can be tracked, right? But when you use the extension block Mimblewimble, then your Litecoin becomes like cash, right? It becomes fungible. So it's pretty incredible if you break it down in a simple way where Litecoin is not just a credit card payment now, that it's also cash when you use the extension block. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, the more privacy functionality we can add to cryptos, the more true crypto fans, right? Of the libertarian bent that say, hey, get rid of the middleman and stop tracking all my stuff, the happier we're going to be. So I'm glad to see you guys doing that.
And here's another plus, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency that, that doesn't want to be known, right? So I see a future where a lot of the Bitcoin people, they're going to use the Mimblewimble on Litecoin with atomic swap, so they can use their money in a private way. So I think it's another plus for Litecoin going forward because, Litecoin and Bitcoin is going to be compatible on the Lightning Network. So with atomic swap going, they're going to be able to use privacy if they don't want to, reveal how many coins they have or want more privacy.
Yeah, that's really interesting because we see more and more tracking of the cryptos, right, which freaks out some people. So I think having the ability to make these transactions more private will be valuable long term. Now, what about the fact that, because you say that Mimblewimble sort of masks the amount, and so how does Mimblewimble or how does Litecoin just sort of reverse engineer that when it's trying to track exactly how much crypto somebody has left or how much some crypto somebody has then, because there's a portion of it that's completely unknown. It's not on the public blockchain now, so they don't know that how much Litecoin I have because a portion of that's in the dark, right? So how does that work?
So you can peg in and peg out, right? So like whenever the miners mine Litecoin, they're gonna mine Mimblewimble as well at the same time. So there's this like weird words that they use that it kind of it's way above my brain, but it's a really cool way to where you can opt in, and peg out to where they use this term. I forgot what it is, but it always sets the Litecoin count to 0 to make sure that people can't create coins out of thin air. So
So that's sort of that on-ramp, off-ramp. It's like you go on with some and then you come off with some, and we know what those are, but we don't know what happened in between.
So basically, David Burkett of the Grin++ said Mimblewimble is like Lightning 1.5.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's it. Maybe we need to have a Mimblewimble Wasta come on and talk about it.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. And I think, Mimblewimble is a pretty difficult project, right? I mean, you gotta know your stuff to really understand it. But for me, I always tell them about the open, like public highway versus a side tunnel that runs parallel, and people kind of get it. So But that's just the way I roll because I'm a simple man with a simple plan, baby.
I'd mimble that wimble, yo.
Oh,
Somebody's got to. So what else? We don't know everything that's happening over there, and you guys are a wealth of knowledge. So what else is exciting you about the crypto world in general right now? Like, let's look into 2020, and you don't necessarily have to give predictions, although with the Litecoin halving causing Litecoin to run up almost 4x. I'm wondering if you see something similar happening with Bitcoin, because now we're about 6 months out.
I don't really like price predictions. I like maybe event predictions, if that's
sure.
like,
predict away.
Yeah, so I think you have to go, at least with the halving, you have to go with whatever history shows, at least until it's proven otherwise. So you would expect to see whatever has happened in the prior Bitcoin halvings. You should have something to that degree happen in this one. And if for any reason,
it's only happened twice, right? And
yeah,
you could say that the first one really was kind of meaningless because it was new, right? The first
correct.
one. So we only really have a track record of one time being able to say, "Oh, look at the run up."
Yeah, and I think honestly, it's psychological anyway. I mean, when you have so many people, unfortunately, it's such a speculative space. Everybody still treats it like they would when you're talking about public companies, right? And so you have the buy the rumor, sell the news. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy type of action that occurs even within this space. And so you will probably have some kind of a run-up because people are going to try and take advantage of the fact that the news is talking about how the reward will be cut in half. But in reality, it's really just another technical functionality that's been there since the onset that everybody knows about. So whatever happens with the price is really just based off of people trading and whatever news is put out there. On the technical side, it's something that's expected to happen, and you just want to make sure no hitches go off. Just as Charlie was talking about the Litecoin halving, let's just make sure no glitches come up during the halving itself and everything works out fine. Expect to have a rise in hash rate and a drop in hash rate, and then everything will move from there. And I think you're going to see the same thing happen with Bitcoin. But I think in 2020, you're going to see a lot more global adoption in ways that we haven't really tapped into yet, or at least haven't had the opportunity to tap into yet.
Is 2020 the year of crypto?
I don't know if 2020 necessarily is, and I don't want to say it's based off of anything that happens within the geopolitical spectrum or anything else, but everything sort of plays a role in it. And many times it seems like the most unexpected thing is what propels it. So I wouldn't even anticipate if you see something big come out, like, I don't know, some large corporation decides to accept cryptocurrencies for payment. It doesn't necessarily move the needle, right? So for me, it's really just about making sure that it's starting to get into the hands of the people who don't normally have it in their hands.
Well, I have a fact-based prediction.
Is it going to be crypto goes up, crypto goes down?
No. So I was in San Francisco and I was eating dinner with who of crypto, right? I got invited to that dinner. I don't know why, but I was. And I was talking to one of the big hedge fund guys there. And, we had a couple of drinks and we're just eating dinner. And then he said, "Hey, John, I'm sorry, but, we bought like the big crypto hedge fund. They bought Litecoin all the way up to the halving and they dumped it, right? Like a few days before, right? And after. And I told him, I said, well, if you dumped it, maybe how come the price didn't crash that fast? And he says, no, like we're professional, so we dump it in stages, right? So what I learned from that was that like these big time traders who really buys and sells a lot of Bitcoin and Litecoin and crypto, right? They know about the halving and they prepare for the halving and they buy all the way up until the halving, right? Because you saw that Litecoin was up 300% this year, right before the halving, right? It was up to $140 and it started a year at $30. So my prediction is, it's not even a prediction. This is a no-brainer. All the traders, the big crypto hedge funds, right? They are going to play this halving like there's no tomorrow, especially because it's Bitcoin's halving, Like if they bought that much with Litecoin halving, how much money do you think they're going to use to pump Bitcoin right before the halving, so they can, because they're a for-profit company, right? So I think 2020, I tweeted this out the other day, 2017 was an exciting year. 2018 was a year to find purpose. 2019 has been a year of growth. 2020 will be the year to remember. I think 2020 will be the year that everybody remembers is the year that everything turned for the good, right? And just knowing how these hedge funds work and how they make money, they're going to make this Bitcoin halving such a big deal. And they're going to run the price up, because this is how you run up the price. You don't just buy. You buy and make the price go up and let other people FOMO in, and they take it to the next level, and they come back in with more money and they take it to the next level. It just keeps going and going and going, right? So I think 2020 pre-Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin is going to go more than 4x, because if Litecoin, his little brother, went 4x, on the halving, I think Bitcoin is going to be, it's going to outperform like Litecoin by a lot. So that's my answer to the prediction. And I'm coming at you from a hedge fund's perspective, and they're the ones that are really moving the prices anyways. So that's the only thing that really matters to me when you want to talk about price prediction. Yeah.
That's a great quote. We might to put that on a quote card, Mr. Joe Connell.
It's quotable and cardable.
That was a quote card right there, if I ever heard one. So 2017, we were getting our feet wet. 2020 is the year of amazement.
Yes,
it'll
be the year to remember, because it's the year that everything turned, the trajectory turned for the good.
So what does that mean? Is 2021? I mean, if you're already calling 2020 the year to remember, is 2021 the year to forget? I mean,
look, man, if you've been in the space a long time, but if you've been in the space till 2017, I believe 2020 will be the year that if you held on, you will be rewarded.
You talk so sexy, Mr. John Kim.
We love what you got to say, man.
Hey,
those words of music to my ear.
I'm in bad crypto podcast. I know what to say to get your listeners all pumped up. I'm here to pump. I'm Hans and I'm Franz. I'm here to pump you up.
Yeah. Yeah. With your little girly man muscles. No, that's exciting. No, seriously, if you look at this, if you look at the hash rate, you look at prices, and you look at all these things, like crypto now, the hash rates historically, like this year, higher than ever before, like way higher than ever before, like historically speaking. And that's exciting stuff. We're seeing a lot of great things happen. And, I think that the timing of that is so great because, Litecoin just had their halving. You've just had some inside, knowledge about how that was sort of going. And then you've had these conversations with that. If those hedge fund people are playing that same sort of game plan leading up to Bitcoin's halving, which why wouldn't they? Because it worked for them. It went 4x. We're looking at $28,000 Bitcoin, $30,000 Bitcoin price by the time the halving happens.
That's if it just does 4x. But Bitcoin is a lot more popular than Litecoin, right? So when people FOMO into Bitcoin, that FOMO is a mofo. Like FOMOing into Litecoin is like a pre-mofo, right? It's just like a little taste. But when people FOMO into Bitcoin, man, it is crazy. You saw it going up to 20. But here's why people should hold on to their Litecoin, because I don't want to talk about Bitcoin and not tell people about Litecoin. So if you look at the price action, if you look at the charts of history of Bitcoin and Litecoin, and if you zoom out, the chart literally looks the same, right? But during the bull market, Litecoin always outperformed Bitcoin in percentage rise. So holding on to Litecoin along with Bitcoin, you should see the price move together, even though because of the halving, Bitcoin may shoot a lot higher. Litecoin will always be right next to it. If you look at the charts, zoom out, it's basically the same looking chart.
Well, Bitcoin does, always seem to be the leading indicator. I mean, Bitcoin is almost 67% dominance, in the market cap of cryptos. And people have been asking, when's alt season going to happen? And I have a hard time believing that alt season can really happen without Bitcoin leading the way once again and basically bringing everything with it in its wake.
Yeah. I think 2017 though, I mean, Litecoin was the one that shocked everyone because it went from what, $20 to $400, $380. That was a higher percentage increase than Bitcoin's.
Let's just talk about the space in general. I mean, what kind of an alt season are you looking for? I think it was different in 17 when you had it, because basically everything was new. All the products are new, the coins are new that were coming into that, and it was different. I think this time around, I mean, what are people really going to invest in more of? Is it going to be the utility type of products that are going to be available within the space, or is it going to be the coins per se that have been stagnant now for almost 2 years? Some of them, I don't know. I think it's going to be a mixed bag.
99%, decrease in a lot. Well, I think the ones that are going to run are the ones that are, have been biddling during this time, right? EOS has just sent out an email saying that they're launching the beta of EOS Voice in February. That's a real project that solves a real problem. Stellar's got deals with IBM. Engine and Wax are both, building on the whole gaming and virtual asset market in big ways. And I think these, in my mind, are the ones to pay attention to. Brave, the basic attention token, the Brave browser continues to grow. And that tells me that there's a bright future for BAT.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with the question. Is basically everybody invested like across the board on everything almost 2 years ago, right? Or at least it seemed that way. I think you're going to see a separation with the products or the projects that have been around now for at least a few years and have been working during this quiet time, during this bear market. The ones who are bringing out actual projects, things that you can use, they're functional, they have some type of utility to them. There's a purpose behind it.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves because do you remember 2017? Coinbase was the most downloaded app on Apple, right? So here's my thought, and just hear me out. So all those people who got in, who downloaded Coinbase, and they got in, and they were all noobs, right? So they bought Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum because that was what was available, right? So what happened was they all lost their shirt, right? Because you have to be in this space or a true believer in order to hold through those dark times. But most of them capitulated, right? So what's going to happen is on their phone, Coinbase app is still there. Okay. So what's going to happen is when Bitcoin goes crazy, the news is going to be like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin is at 25,000, whatever. Then everybody's going to open up their Coinbase, right? And they're going to start buying stuff. Right? They're not going to sit there and say what project has a real world working product. They're not going to ask any question. They're going to go in there and they're going to look at all the coins on Coinbase and they're going to start buying coins. And I think that's what's going to fuel the alt season. The new buyers or the buyers who already have a Coinbase account on their phone, but they vowed to never buy crypto again, will FOMO in again. And it's going to be because Coinbase is just 2 touches from your fingertips away from buying. You open the app and you press the buy button, right? So their banks are already all connected. So as soon as the mainstream media talks about Bitcoin going to 25,000, I think the new users and the users who stopped are going to FOMO back in and they're going to buy. Now there's a huge list on Coinbase, right? There's a lot of coins. So I think there will be an alt season because most people in America are gonna open up the Coinbase app and they're gonna start buying, and most of them.
That's a really great perspective and analysis, and I think that's why some of the lower price coins are going to run, just because I can buy a crap ton of Stellar for a nickel, or I can buy a Bitcoin for 10,000, right? And I think that is going to have an impact on it for sure.
Yep. I mean, that's where Litecoin ran up because Litecoin was the cheapest out of the 3. right? During the last bull run. And Litecoin was like,
So true.
And people were like, you know what? I can get a whole Litecoin. You know, I can get like 50 Litecoins, but I can't even get a whole, you know, Bitcoin. So a lot of the new people just came in and bought Litecoin, and you saw what happened to the prices.
I just hope people aren't like, oh man, DAI is $1. I'm going to buy a bunch of that.
You know what? I bet you there's going to be some people who do it too.
So true. You know, actually, that's whenever in 2017, whenever I was, you know, showing my friends about the cryptos, I would always send them, like, you know, depending on the price and where it was, I would send them a half of a Litecoin, and look how fast they get it. And they just was blown away by how fast it pops up in their loaf wallet, right? It's just like, pow. And you're like, damn, look how quick that was. And the look of amazement on their face, it's almost, they look at their phone and they look at you, and you can just see their wheels turning, like, wow, this does look like it's going to be some future action here. This is the future of money. And I've always thought it's a future of money. And since we got in this game, and it seems to me like that's not slowing down. It's only, the hash rates are only getting bigger, and the prices are growing, and the use cases and the companies that accept it are only growing, and the companies that are building their own blockchain enterprise level things is only increasing, and countries are doing it, and they're creating their own sovereign currencies, you know, digital assets. It's amazing what we've seen explode over these last couple of years.
And also, like, you know, I did a tour in Asia, Litecoin Asian tour. I went to 6 different countries, and I just got back from Korea. Man, it's so bad out there. Crypto is, like, as much as I want to say nice things about crypto, right now in Asia is probably the biggest gambling platform in the world. That people, young people, and these poor people, Southeastern Asia, they jump into this crypto market not knowing any fundamentals about what a true blockchain is, and they just, you know, get killed. You know what I mean? So it's really bad. Like, if you look at the whole picture of what crypto is, you just think of it as a global casino, that the people who doesn't know the fundamentals of a blockchain will get burned, and people, you know, who knows, will hold on to the main ones that have the history, like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. But I'm scared that Ethereum is going to delegated proof of stake, so that may, you know, kind of mess up a lot of things for Ethereum. So, you know, at the end of the day, so all the new people, they're going to buy the cheap coins, and we're going to have an alt season. But sometimes I can't sleep at night knowing that all these people, the simple people, the 6 point something billion, 99% of the people in this world that doesn't have the time or the schooling to know the intricacies of a blockchain will get burned the most. And that kind of frustrates me, that, you know, that those people, the people that need it the most are going to be the ones that are going to be burned the most. And it's pretty sad if you think about it.
Mm. Well, on that depressing note, I mean, everything was going great there, and then John's like, it's going to suck for those people. Well, hopefully crypto can solve some of those problems, because those people are already being taken advantage of by the current, you know, world financial system. And crypto's got the opportunity to bank the unbanked, to empower them to not pay these ridiculous transaction fees, to be able to send money peer to peer without having to deal with the middleman. And I want to end on that note, John Kim.
No, we need to end on the fact that 2020 is going to be a year to remember. So huddle on tight and buy the dips, and stop, you know, complaining about the prices, because we're going to go up. What goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. It's the cycle of life.
And FOMO
is a mofo. That's right, baby.
Yeah. Stop the FOMO, mofo. You need to make that a shirt. It'd say FOMO, mofo, and then every one of the O's is like a Litecoin logo.
That's
FOMO,
great.
mofo.
FOMO, mofo. I like that. John Kim, David Schwartz, Litecoin Foundation. Gentlemen, thank you for your patience and finally getting scheduled to be on the show. I know that the Republic of Bad Cryptopia is going to be grateful that you showed up. We are. Thanks again, guys.
I appreciate it.
Yo, Bad Crypto, listen up. Good podcast. It's an honor. Thank you, baby.
Man, that John Kim is one enthusiastic, charismatic fella. Really a great choice to be an evangelist for
sure.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's great about it is like, not only is he, super smart and passionate, but like, he's also like, he knows several martial arts and he's like a big badass. And so
Does he know martial long?
yeah, he might. I think he does maybe know martial long, but I know he knows some martial arts. And so like, if you don't like how he's evangelizing, that's okay. He'll just punch you in your mouth. I know other people who punch people in the mouth too, but you gotta be careful. You don't want to infuriate people.
Infuriate?
It's true. What's wrong? Hey, you better watch out, Mr. Joe Kime. You're getting close.
That's great, Mr.
No, that was Mr. Mike Tyson. You watch out. Recognize. Hey, first of all, we also want to give another shout out to our other sponsor, Moby. Now, this is an interesting thing. So it's like, there's PayPal out there, then there's Venmo, and there's the Cash App and whatnot. But Moby is very interesting because it's sort of like the crypto version of that. They have this ecosystem that consists of 3 core applications that let users spend or send money. And it's really good for merchants too. It like creates gift cards on the fly of that particular merchant that they then can renew, which then eliminates a lot of credit card fees or so. It saves them money. So it gives them a new revenue source, these companies. So a lot of people are jumping on board. It's interesting. It's MobiPay.io, MobiEPay.io. Check it out.
Yeah, if you go to their site and you sign up for their beta, you get $10 in their MBX coin. So go ahead and join now. Mr. Travis Wright, it's warm here in Miami.
Is it? So
yeah.
glad to see that.
I mean, I'm a futurist. I know that it's actually Sunday when we're recording this and I'm flying out tomorrow. But, I checked the weather and it's warm in Miami.
That's unfortunate for us to have to be there in such warm weather.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be so great. So Washington Elite is the first event, and then we've got a party at the Versace Mansion.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna see all the Versaces, I guess.
Well, I guess that's where the Washington Elite after party thing or whatever the conference party is located at. So pretty interesting. People in the crypto world, they like to get together and have some cryptos funds. Seems like.
Yeah. So actually, when this show comes out, oh look, I just went to their website and their video started playing. That's what that noise is. So the Washington Elite event is the 14th and 15th, and it's WashingtonElite.com, and it's 2 full days. And I think when this show comes out, we might actually be on stage like right now. When this episode comes out, and then the big North American.
What we love about too is like. At that conference is the very first time we're ever going to have an NFT, our own Bad Crypto NFT, which you'll be able to see in the show notes. We'll include them.
For this when that episode comes out. If you're not at the event, you won't be able to get the NFT. Well, we're going to show it to you, but the first 2 NFTs we're come out this week. They're specially made for these 2 conferences. They got little cartoon Travis and Joel's on it. We can go ahead and describe it.
Sure.
The one for Washington Elite, which is our inaugural NFT, because it's Washington Elite, it's kind of like this. The
Secret Service-y vibe.
Yeah, Secret Service-y. So we're kind of like Men in Black or the Blues Brothers. We're in we're a little cartoon Joel and Travis.
We're Men in Bad.
Bad in Black. That's what Bad in Black.
Bad in Black. It's
Bad in Black.
Yeah.
So that one's fun. And then tell them about the one for the North American Bitcoin Conference.
Yeah. So if you guys have ever been on our Telegram, Joel has had this cool little icon that this dude made, and Joel was wearing his Do Good Stuff shirt. And I was like, man, we should have that same dude make Travis and Joel, and we'll put him on different NFTs when we were talking about creating the NFTs. So they, at this conference, they want us to do our show there, and they offered to give us a booth. And so we had to design some artwork for the booth. So now we have this graphic of what the booth is going to look like. And then we took little icons of Joel and Travis and put them in the booth. And Joel's throwing up Bitcoins, and I'm lighting a $100 bill on fire.
It's super fun. Can't wait to hand these out to people.
Yeah. And there's only going to be 100?
Something
200?
Like something like that. I don't know. But I do know that we're both super hype on NFTs, and you guys should be too. there's a big future in non-fungible tokens. And we might have some other plans for creating some special ones for you guys as listeners. So we recommend that you get, have an ERC20 wallet set up, maybe a MetaMask or something. I like Trust Wallet on my mobile phone because you can scan stuff easily and you can see your NFTs in the wallet. Nice. There's little pictures.
Yeah, I love the ERCs and the NFTs, but not the STDs. I don't like those. You don't want to collect those.
Those are actually fungible. That's what happens when you've had too much fun.
Oh man, what's up?
Oh, there's one more app you guys might want to download because we met a gentleman who last year at ETH Denver, which we are going to again in February. More about that in a future episode. There's a lot of projects that are being hacked together at ETH Denver. And one of the projects last year was put together by this guy who created an app called POAP, P-O-A-P, POAP.xyz. And what that stands for is the Proof of Attendance Protocol. So he's come up with this notion Patricio, right. Only he's not, I think he's from Malta. He's not Italian, but he's from Malta.
Pretty darn close. Malta's close to Italy.
It's super close.
Italia.
He's the Maltese non-fungible token guy.
Cool dude. Smart protocol.
Really smart guy, smart protocol in this app, this POAP, POAP.xyz. When you download the app, there's events that you'll go to that have these NFTs. And when you're at the event, you can get the NFT and it gives you a proof. It's like a badge, an achievement saying, I was here. It's kind of like Foursquare for events.
Yeah. I can see this thing sort of expanding and sort of like Foursquare was in Gowalla back in the day and making checking into places cool because there was proof that you were there. You didn't just like say you were there. Because like on Foursquare or Gowalla or any of those apps, you could literally say you were there, even though you weren't. Like, I would have fun with that sometimes. You can still even do that on Facebook. Say, I am here at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Like, no, you're not. You're literally in your house. So it's like this proof of attendance protocol could be pretty legit. Could be kind of a fun little thing. And that's one thing about ETH Denver, man. Is like last year they gave us these little tokens. They were like a real. You would hold it. It was like a coin,
like a poker chip.
Yeah, poker chip thing. And you would go to the different vendors, and there was money on there. That's where your money was for your food allowance for the 2 days of the conference. And so you would go to the different vendors, and they would go boop boop, and then they have their tablet, and there it is. And it was quick too.
Yeah, the theme for the ETH Denver, the mascot was the buffacorn. This year, it's the Pega buffacorn because they're taking flight. And they're doing some really, really cool stuff that nobody's ever done before at this conference coming up.
Experimental. That's where it really seems like with that. And there's the building is this 5-level building. It's really cool. They're going to have this giant hackathon going on. A bunch of really smart people in the Ethereum space are going to be doing cool things. So, I mean, if you have that sort of, mad scientist vibe and you like coding and you like crypto, I think ETH Denver is an event you probably want to go to because there's people who are thinking about crypto a little differently there. They're the builders there.
They're biddlers. Biddlers. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a future episode. As for now, we're going to go enjoy Miami. Watch for another episode. We're going to be recording some content on location here. Not sure what incredible interviews we're going to come back with, but I guarantee you that we will. And until next time, y'all know what to do. Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.